Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Today I'm unraveling the chilling thriller crime movie called Girl in the Basement. The story plunges us into immediate crisis with our protagonist, Sara, and her father, Don, desperately rushing Marie to the hospital, Marie struggling to breathe. Sara's panic surges as Marie's breathing ceases. She screams for Don to drive faster. At the hospital, Don's voice cuts through the chaos, commanding Sara to remain silent. Paramedics swarm Marie, administering oxygen, fighting for her life, but the monitor screams a flat line, taking us back 20 years to a seemingly idyllic family dinner with Sara, her sister Amy, and their parents, Don and Irene. But the peace is a mirage. Don's oppressive shadow falls over the table, forbidding Sara from a party, his reign over the family tightening. That night, Sara rebels, sneaking out to meet her boyfriend, Chris. Her parents discover her empty room, Don coldly labeling her a problem. At the party, Sara dances freely with Chris, who then serenades her with a song written just for her, their love blossoming in a kiss. Sara returns home in the morning to Don, who's been waiting all night. Their fight erupts, Sara declaring that the moment she turns 18, she'll abandon the family for good. She shares her dreams of traveling the country, working to support herself, with her mother and sister. Unseen, Don overhears, then descends into the basement, a secret room revealed behind a bookshelf. 3 months later, on Sara's graduation day, Irene mentions Don's increasing obsession with his man cave in the basement. The stage is set. When Irene leaves, Don manipulates Sara into the basement, asking her to help carry a box. He leads her into that hidden room, a bomb shelter he claims, built by the previous owner. The click of the lock echoes, sealing Sara inside. Her panicked screams for help are swallowed by the soundproof walls. Worried, Irene calls the police on the 4th day. Don visits Sara, his voice chillingly calm as he dictates the terms of her captivity. From now on, she will earn everything, even the clean air. He leaves, the implications of his actions hanging heavy. A cop visits the family, suggesting Sara likely embarked on her planned trip. Irene refuses to believe it. Sara would never leave before her 18th birthday without saying goodbye. Alone and terrified, Sara clings to memories of Chris. Days bleed into weeks. Chris visits the house, searching for Sara. Don spins a web of lies, claiming Sara ran off with a childhood neighbor. On her 18th birthday, her 21st day of confinement, Don brings her a cake and a red nightgown. She asks for a clock. He demands something in return. Her refusal is met with a brutal beating. Almost a year into her captivity, Sara's water breaks. All alone, she gives birth to a baby girl, Marie. For years later, Sara is pregnant again. Don maintains a chilling double life, one with his oblivious wife and Amy, and another, a monstrous secret, with Sara and Marie in the basement. Point 1 Still haunted by Sara's disappearance, Irene wants to hire a private investigator, but Don vehemently refuses. As a twisted reward for Sara's good behavior, Don brings a TV to the basement for Sara and Marie. Later, Sara welcomes a second child, a baby boy, Michael. One night, Sara weaves her terrifying life story into a bedtime tale for her children, filled with princesses and knights. Chris visits the house again, still asking about Sara. This time, Amy, having witnessed Don's cruelty, tells him the truth. They discuss Don's long history of horrible behavior toward Sara, Amy confessing her fear that Don might have killed her. To survive the endless days, Sara conjures imaginary adventures for her children, a shield against their desolate reality. Meanwhile, Amy and Irene confront Don about his lies. A horrific fight erupts, Irene's furious yells echoing her vow to find her daughter. During the struggle, Don drops his keys. Amy seizes the opportunity, grabbing them and heading to the basement to search for clues. Don finds her, reclaims his keys, and another violent struggle ensues, Amy accusing him of Sara's disappearance. Time drags on. Sara has another baby boy, whom she names Thomas. With a calm resolve, Sara convinces Don to take the third baby upstairs. She explains there's no room, no time for another child in the basement. Don leaves the baby on the house's porch, where Irene finds him. Tucked into the basket is a heartfelt note, seemingly from Sara, explaining it's her baby and she wants Irene to raise him, claiming she and her boyfriend can't. A second, hidden note, a desperate plea for help from Sara, is discovered by Don, who, enraged, assaults her again. Years of captivity etch their mark. The children's imaginations flourish, expanding their mother's bedtime story. 14 years have passed. Sara is still in the basement. Marie, now a beautiful young girl, experiments with makeup one night. Don shows a disturbing interest in her burgeoning beauty. Sara begs him to leave her daughter alone, to spare her the same fate. In retaliation, Don cuts off the power, shutting down their clean air supply. Gasping for breath, Marie expresses her profound longing for friends and the outside world, unaware that Don is both her grandfather and her father. Upstairs, Thomas finds his grandmother crying in his mother's bedroom. Irene misses her daughter, speaking to Thomas of Sara's magnificence. Simultaneously, in the basement, raindrops begin to fall. Sara climbs, finding a damp roof. Using a spoon, she digging her way to the surface, where she flashes a desperate signal. A neighbor notices, telling Don. Rather than investigating, Don brutally beats Sara, who is pregnant again. The beating causes her to lose the baby. As she sobs from the pain, Sara has a stillbirth. Don buries the baby in the yard. Don later descends into the basement, complaining, but also praising Thomas, now a strong athlete. When Marie and Michael question when they'll see the outside world, Don blames Sara, stating her bad behavior is why they are trapped down there. Pressured by her children's endless questions, Sara snaps. In a fit of rage, she shouts, demolishing all their furniture. Exhausted, she collapses, memories of Chris, her happiest moments, flooding her mind. Her children gently cover her with a blanket, cleaning up their home, apologizing. An emotional Sara tells them they're old enough to hear the true story of their captivity. So far, they believe Don lived upstairs with their Aunt Irene to help care for Thomas. Sick of the lies, she tells them everything, starting with her life being the inspiration for their bedtime story. Gently, she explains Don is both her father and theirs. The moment Marie learns the painful truth, she suffers a severe asthma attack. The children feel something is fundamentally wrong with them. Sara reassures them, professing her love, placing all blame squarely on Don. A year later, another incident occurs between Don and Michael after Don insults Sara and her appearance. Food for the basement is rationed as Don struggles at work. Soon, he loses his job. Facing foreclosure, Don attempts to suffocate the family in the basement, connecting car exhaust fumes to the air vent. He's interrupted by Thomas in the garage, who unknowingly saves their lives. While Don and his family have a barbecue in the yard, Marie is sick, struggling to breathe. Don refuses to take Marie to the hospital. Sara, desperate, begs for his help, promising not to say a word about anything. Don agrees. Michael is left behind. 20 years of captivity have passed. We are back at the beginning of the film, Marie being rushed to the hospital. Sara is consumed with worry for Marie's life, feeling immense relief when doctors save her. When the nurse asks for medical history, she's told Marie is homeschooled and treated with natural remedies. Sara subtly scans the hospital, seeking an escape, looking utterly exhausted and lost. In a desperate attempt, Sara spills water on the medical forms, creating a diversion. She separates from Don, and seconds before he can reach her, Sara corners the nurse, confessing, "I need help." A police officer questions Don, leading to his immediate arrest. Sara announces to Marie, "We are safe. We are free." The house fills with police, who free Michael. Irene and Thomas are devastated, watching Michael gasp for air as he's carried from the basement. Don observes everything from the back of the police vehicle. Later, on a beautiful summer's day, Marie, Thomas, and Michael play freely in the countryside, while Sara, Irene, and Amy watch from the house's porch. Marie spots someone approaching on the driveway. It's Chris. He arrives on his motorcycle. He and Sara walk together. He expresses profound sorrow for not trying harder to find her, for believing her father's BS story. He gives her a gift, a pink motorcycle helmet he bought for her when they were 18, when they planned to embark on a journey. Finally, bound by an unbreakable happiness, they kickstart their engines, embarking on that long-awaited motorcycle ride, a journey into their future. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell for more gripping stories just like this one. Thanks for watching.